All right. So, hi and welcome, audience. Today we have Cherith George from Bangalore, and she has qualifications of Bachelors in Bioinformatics and Master's degree in Biotechnology, and now she is starting her career in intellectual property industry. So, congratulations,
Thank you, ma'am.
or should I say, double congratulations to you.
I'm not sure as yet, so let's see.
No. So to share a very good news with the audience, she is not only starting her new journey in her career, but also a new journey as soon to be mother. So congratulations, and we are so happy, and our entire team is so happy and celebrating for you that you are at this juncture. You got an opportunity to start your career.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So how is the feeling coming that at this point you're starting your career when there is a pandemic situation, number one, and plus you are starting a new journey of your motherhood, and you got the opportunity to work from home.
Right. I was actually very skeptical about, finding a job at this point in time
Mhm.
because I didn't want to. I was basically at home. I've never just been at home. I've either studied or worked
Hmm.
previously. So for me, I was feeling very unproductive
Hmm. Hmm.
despite having, all the chores of a wife and going to be mom.
Hmm.
So I thought, okay, why not? I actually enrolled in this a year back,
Hmm.
last April.
Hmm.
But then the pandemic happened and so many other things, and then I had to get married. I got married, and then I conceived. So many things took place so fast. But in all of that process, I was quite sure that I wanted to work, at least to gain experience in the time that I'm, during my pregnancy.
Hmm.
So I, through IIPTA, it so happened that exactly now I had an opportunity for an interview, and it just clicked.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I was always up for this.
Hmm.
So
So
it feels good.
so how did your interview went with the company? What were the rounds, and what did they ask you? Were you
Like,
nervous during the interview?
I was because I just had gotten off a call with our placement officer,
Hmm.
and she said, keep your phone lines free.
Hmm.
Or in like maybe half an hour, you will receive a call. And as soon as I got off the phone, I got an immediate call. So I was a little flustered.
Hmm.
And the placement officer also mentioned that that I'd be receiving a call from the director, so I need to be very clear cut with what I wanted to say.
Hmm.
So he happened. I just had one quick round, and he took 10 minutes of time. I guess he knew exactly what he wanted and what he was looking for.
Hmm.
So he asked me just a few simple questions. He asked me if I had a few minutes, and he asked me questions about what is a patent, why do you think we need a patent, what are the services an IP firm would offer,
Hmm.
and who are the clients you think we are looking at, potential clients.
Hmm.
And I was flustered. I asked him for a minute because I just received a call, and I answered all the questions, and he said yes, that's about right. And following which, I don't know. I've sat for many interviews before, but it's never been this quick.
Hmm.
And after which, he asked me why I chose this profile.
Hmm.
He previously read my resume, and he wanted to know why IPR.
Hmm.
So I gave him my justification as to why I chose IPR, and and he said, "Is this your area of interest?"
Hmm.
Because the job profile that I was given was different from what I was actually looking at.
Hmm.
So he asked me for that, and I gave my answer as well. And he took like a minute to process everything, and he's like, okay, so I think you can go ahead and join. I will recruit you tomorrow. I was very shocked that it happened so quickly. So and that's when I had to disclose the information that I was pregnant, because it's obviously really important. It's not
Yeah.
just us, but the company
Hmm.
would also invest in us in training and things.
Hmm.
So I told him then that I am pregnant. I
Hmm.
was under the impression that it's going to be
Rounds.
right. So
Yeah.
I told him anyway, and then he seemed quite positive about it. He did not, considering the pandemic situation and that you have an opportunity to work from home.
Hmm.
So he was considerate of it, and he said he gave me a very clear cut picture of everything, and he said, okay, just give me a few minutes, I'll get back. I mean, he didn't say few minutes, he said, I'll get back to you. And just within a couple of hours, he got back to me saying, I'll send you the offer letter, we want you to join immediately.
Wow.
So it happened in like a span of 3 hours. It was
I,
really quick.
I think all the patience that you had waiting for the right opportunity,
Right,
it just
right.
came and banged and you got in.
True, true. Yes, I mean, it just happened so quickly. I couldn't even process it. I mean, after that, I was sitting and thinking, what, what just happened, And so I got hired, and then they asked me to join this morning. So we went through all of that, and I joined this morning. I just got off, and I'm here.
So how was the first day at job?
It was good.
Hmm.
Uh, it was a little challenging to sometimes it's not exactly what you want,
Hmm.
but it gives you an insight into what you can pick up,
Right, right.
what you can learn.
Uh,
So
maybe
though it
maybe you
the
are feeling very productive today.
yes, actually I'm feeling quite overwhelmed, to be very honest, because on one end my husband is so surprised. He's like, oh my god, I don't have your attention. And today happened to be my parents' birthday, so I had so much planned, and so juggling between this and that, I was quite overwhelmed by the end of the day. I had so many things lined up. So, and because this was unexpected for them to ask me to join today,
Hmm.
so yeah, I happened to manage everything. And so
Great, great. I'm so happy for you. It is good sometimes to be juggling between the things. This is a part where you really enjoy. Yeah, you full fledged. You are into your zone where you wanted to be, and that's what you signed up for.
yeah, exactly, this is what I signed up for. So you you get what you want, right?
Yeah, yeah, great, awesome. I can see little tiredness. I will not take much of your time,
No,
but
that's okay.
but yeah, I wanted to understand that about your background, about your journey, a little bit about that. You completed bioinformatics, biotechnology, and my audience would be really interested to understand that why IPR you choose to enter into, and you did a transition into things
Right,
which
right.
I understood. Like, so tell me about it. What is your take on that?
So initially, to be very honest, like every Indian household child goes through, you're just forced into something blindly. You have to either become a doctor or an engineer. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how my story also began. I studied bioinformatics for
Hmm.
my UG course,
Hmm.
and then I realized I knew I wanted to do biology, but
Hmm.
I didn't know what exactly, where exactly to do. And I was quite a naughty kid, so my parents wanted to send me off to a hostel so I can, learn a little bit. So I studied away from home. I studied bioinformatics for 4 years.
Hmm.
And on completed the course, I realized I'm like, there was very little wet lab work that we had to do.
Hmm.
So and I was more intrigued by wet lab work.
Hmm.
So, and there was a lot of dry lab computing work with
Yeah,
bioinformatics.
yeah.
That's what it's like. So, I after that, I immediately got recruited after
Hmm.
college.
Hmm.
Um, so I worked with IBM as a technical associate for 2 years, which is again a shift into a field, which
Hmm.
is because I studied a little bit of IT as well as biology. That's what
Hmm.
bioinformatics is. So we had a little bit of knowledge in that. Though I worked more on the technical associate side.
Hmm.
I worked there for 2.5 years. I mainly worked there because I was quite confused on what to do next.
Hmm. Hmm.
I didn't know if I should continue with this job and try to work my way up, or pursue, get an MBA degree or do an MTech. I was quite confused.
Hmm.
So I took that time to, sort of establish myself. And also I wanted to just let loose and, have a job and earn my own money.
Absolutely.
So after that time, towards the end of, 2 years, I decided that, it's time I started doing something. That's when I gave the PGCET exam in Karnataka,
Okay.
and I got a counseling seat for biotechnology.
Hmm.
So because I wanted to explore more of wet lab work, and I got in, and I had an amazing experience
Hmm.
uh, during my project phase in my MTech biotechnology. When I say amazing, it was one of the most stressful, one of the most challenging times in my life,
Hmm.
because I had never been under such pressure and never estimated a project to be this, that of that weight. But then it was a period of 1 year, and I learned so much. because it was the hardest I've ever worked in my life. And I switched places. I first worked in IISc
Mm-hmm.
during the initial phases, and then I fell sick, could not continue because they required me to keep coming at like odd hours and things like that. So
Okay.
I couldn't manage there, so I had to shift to a different place. I shifted, and then I really liked the work that I was doing. I worked in cell culture, which
Mm-hmm.
is very hands on, working with human tissue,
Mm-hmm.
and it was very very interesting. That phase of the project I really did enjoy. I learned a lot, but it was very challenging, very difficult, but I successfully completed. And then we had the but during that phase of my final year is when we had one subject called IPR, which was a mandatory subject.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it was not a mandatory, it was an elective.
Okay.
So it was a 2 credit paper that we had to complete. So you could choose anything.
Mm-hmm.
So because IPR was given as an opportunity, I had no idea about what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So while I was doing my project, someone happened to tell me, one of my colleagues happened to tell me, uh, I was still confused, by after biotechnology, what do you do? Is R&D your only option?
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't want to do R&D, full time?
Mm-hmm.
So which is when we started exploring, together, because he was a senior and he gave me a lot of input.
Okay.
As he started explaining to me about how there is quality assurance and um, so many other things that you could possibly do. And he suggested I start preparing for the patent agent exam. I hadn't even heard about it up until then. I
Mm-hmm.
had no idea. And then he said the reason I am suggesting it to you is because being in the patent field does not only require technical knowledge, but um, I've been told, you've got good written and verbal communication skills. So because
Yeah.
of that, it could come in handy
Hmm.
if you're able to think outside the box. If you're able to think, not only limit yourself into just the technical aspect,
Hmm.
but if you're able to have, good command over the language as well, that would come in very handy when it comes to patenting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I started researching about it, thinking what to do. And initially, I also registered for the exam.
Okay.
I had no idea. So, but I have a friend who works in the patent field, and
Hmm.
he said, just to know what it is, you don't have to even pass it, but just to get a feel of it, you could write the exam. So
Hmm.
I registered, and it so happened it didn't take place because of
Hmm.
the pandemic and
Pandemic.
everything else. In that time, after I graduated, in IPR, we studied about patent and all the forms of IP.
Mm-hmm.
So patenting seemed like something that I could excel at,
Mm-hmm.
something different, not many people have explored. Because usually after biotechnology, you either do R&D, or you take up
PhD.
do PhD
Mm-hmm.
and you start teaching, or do something of that sort.
Mm-hmm.
So because this was a less trodden path, I thought, okay, why not? Let's give it a shot. And when I was looking, I just so happened to come across IIPTA.
Mm-hmm.
I was googling places. I thought, why not look for places where I can learn more about this in Bangalore?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it came up as one place in Bangalore. Maybe you all had something before here. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it came up as that, and my initial point of contact was Miss Divya.
Mm-hmm.
So I spoke to her about it. I was very skeptical because a lot of people told me, don't go for online coaching classes.
Mm-hmm.
It's fraudulent. They'll take your money. They won't give you proper coaching. A lot of things, a lot of skepticism. And but I went ahead with it. I did talk to Divya ma'am a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and I did extensive reviews, tried to get in touch with people who've probably gone passed out of this, and things like that. And I did see a couple of positive reviews and negative reviews. I also spoke to Divya ma'am about it, and she gave me a very honest answer. Not everybody's opinion is the same. Neither is their experience or their effort, the amount of effort they given from their end, or their background, or how they perceive things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is different, so it's subject to change. So after all of that, I enrolled in the course in, I think, last April.
Mm-hmm.
And then Corona started,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to finish. I graduated only in June. My project
Mm-hmm.
got over only by June. And after that, I took a month's break, a month and a half. And after that, I thought I'll start studying. So as I started studying, my fiance's family, all of them, like, I'm supposed to get married in October. My
Mm-hmm.
fiance's family, all of them had COVID. So I
Oh.
wasn't even sure if I was going to get married. That time was very stressful. So I couldn't focus on studies, and so many things happened.
Hmm.
But slowly through it all, I just kept studying,
Hmm.
and trying to complete the course, trying to stay on track with the classes. And in the meantime, I also did two certification courses with NPTEL. One
Hmm.
was patent drafting,
Hmm.
and patent engineering, for patent law for engineers.
Okay.
So I did those two certifications as well with NPTEL side by side with IIPTA. That was more on like theoretical
Hmm.
aspects.
Hmm.
And what I received at IIPTA was more practical aspects on how, hands-on experience would be, what the platform would be like, what are the platforms you could probably work on, what's the format of work you would probably be doing, and things of that sort. The certification was more of theory, and the classes that we've been having with IIPT is more of what do you say, practical hands-on training on how you go about things. So this is basically how I came to choose all of this.
Hmm.
So
Awesome, awesome,
yeah, it could be
awesome.
chance or whatever.
Awesome, awesome. I'm so into your story. I'm just listening because sometimes sitting at this side of the table, I don't understand how students come to see me in the classes, and sometimes I have
Right.
to be really really hard on students as well. That why are you not studying? I'm doing all the efforts.
True,
So it's
true.
great, great, great. So what was the best part of the program which you really like? Because as you told me, you were skeptical that sometimes online classes are fraudulent. So
Right,
what was the
right.
best part you really liked in our program?
Actually, initially also, I don't know if it was my miscommunication, or I did not inquire well enough, but I was just told that you will have like a package that you will receive online, and it's a self-study material, and you can study on your own. So I started just reading on my own, and I wasn't aware that classes were happening on the platform even. And after a couple of days, I was added to I received messages from Cheshta Sharma. I didn't even know who that was on the platform. And I think it was sometime around June when I realized that it happened, and I spoke to Divya ma'am about it, and that's when I was added to the WhatsApp group. I even knew it existed, and we started getting updates on classes. So for me, the breaking point of everything was, okay, to know that actually we had one-on-one classes, like live classes, where people were actually explaining things to us, and it's not just theory, but they're actually teaching us how things happen in the real IP scenario, and even in the, because it's so vast.
Hmm.
Sometimes you can get lost in all the information that's available. Even I actually started with reading the Indian patent law,
Hmm.
Indian Patent Act 1970, and there are so many cross references. I was lost. But as we started, for me, where it all actually began to become interesting was when I realized that we had classes.
Hmm.
So the classes were initially like a big breakthrough for me, because it made so much sense, because you're not just reading, you're also understanding what you're reading, right? So that is one thing. And also, as we started going on, I started attending classes every month. You have hackathons every month.
Hmm.
So I started attending classes. Sometimes I could, sometimes I couldn't, but I could make up for the classes I didn't. But what I realized was, um, every time you taught on a topic in one month, the next month you would always add on to it,
Hmm.
like something new always.
Hmm.
You try to improvise on the topic. So that's one thing I really enjoyed. One thing I found was very useful for me. And towards the end, when we started studying, what do you call, US law, and
Hmm.
Europe law, and all of that. When we started studying about those things, the case studies that we did, the
Hmm.
activities that you gave,
Hmm.
that was very helpful to have it validated by you, to
Hmm.
know that, okay, actually this makes sense. So because I had a little bit of drafting experience, I did patent drafting as a course.
Hmm.
There was one class in which I'd missed a lot of classes by then. And
Hmm.
so in one of the classes, you'd given an assignment as to write, I think you gave us a patent agent paper and asked us
Yeah.
to draft a couple of claims.
Yeah.
So in that, when I drafted a couple of claims, I had a clearer idea as to, this is how it works, this is how an actual question would be put across.
Hmm.
So after all that happened, I think that gave me more confidence. That's when, actually, up until then, I would actually not even go towards interviews, even
Hmm.
though I knew the subject a little bit.
Hmm.
I did not want to sit for any interviews. I would not apply. It is very recently that I started applying for the interviews. So once I finished that aspect of, interaction, having it validated with you, by you, that's when I gained a little bit of confidence. So I think that's what I enjoyed the most during this whole course.
Awesome, awesome, Cherith. I'm so proud and so happy, and I can really feel the journey which you have been with us since 1 year, and you are starting your journey. And I must tell you, Cherith, this is just a beginning, and
Right.
uh, seeing your enthusiasm, seeing your intellect, I am pretty sure you're going to go very high and very up into this career. And for this, I want to offer a small gift from entire team of IIPTA, because as you told me that you have already filled the form of patent agent examination. So all your preparation for patent agent examination, we will be sponsoring for
Oh
you.
wow.
So all your study material, all your online classes, everything
Okay.
is 100% on scholarship. You'll get
Oh
it for
wow.
free. And
Thank
we
you, ma'am.
because I know you can go to next level. So whenever the exam is happening, maybe soon by end of this year, as the pandemic situation goes away, you have time.
Right.
So for that, we you can prepare step by step in smaller steps. We have just weekly classes on that, and we have a separate
Mm-hmm.
study material and different kind of mentoring for passing the examination.
Mm-hmm.
So you will get everything as a gift. You will receive an email for that, and email updates for the classes and everything. And I really want you to be super successful in your career, in your personal life, and in your every aspect.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm so encouraged by what you said.
It's okay, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Yeah, what were you saying? Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I was
just
just saying thank you for the opportunity, and I'm very humbled by what you this is really encouraging, to pursue things further. So thank you
great,
so much. Means a
great.
lot.
Great, awesome. And I wish you all the very best to your family, to your husband, to your parents who have a birthday today. And please, please go enjoy and have some family time. Thank you so
Sure.
much for
Thank you so
talking.
much, ma'am. Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Take care.
Bye.